All right, here we are, the second conversation this morning in front of us. This is quite political because the conversation about 2027 has long started, whether politicians admit it or not. As a matter of fact, there are those who are even now visibly concerned that campaign has started, even though INEC has not rung the bell to say, on your marks, go. But it's all right. We've seen this happen almost every other general election cycle. It's barely 2 years. Quite frankly, it's less than 2 years to the next round of general elections. And here we are, politicians are trading, and you're having cross-carpeting, from one end to the other. Of course, fake news and misinformation flying everywhere in between and things like that. But let's try to sit with the development this morning. First off, the All Progressives Congress is the ruling party in Nigeria at the federal level, like we established a while ago. And you have governors that won election on the platform of that same party in 2023 and even before 2023. Now, what makes it even more interesting amongst other elements is that we have seen sitting governors from other parties in recent times who have come to join the fold of the All Progressives Congress. And the president, who also, by extension, is the leader of the APC, has never minced words about it. He says, look, if people want to come join the party, it's because they found it attractive enough. And in many cases, they are right. It's called freedom of association. And in his exact words, he says, I know road. So there's nothing much anybody really, even the eye of the law, can do about that. But the irony of it all is that we're seeing the APC now becoming, on some level, a party that is, for want of better words, eating itself from the inside. Now, here's the context. We're seeing people who have resigned from either the membership of the party or from the government itself, and how they have continually railed against the party. Now, we're not talking about Malam Nasir El-Rufai this morning. We're looking at even people who, after him, have formally left the party, left the government, and working openly with the opposition against the interest of the APC. Now, add to that, there are people we talk to off air who say that there are still card-carrying bona fide members of the APC who are working against the interest of the party, especially in light of the 2027 general election. And that, again, just helped to thicken the narrative about a possible political coalition that is being put together towards 2027. This morning, I'm joined by someone who is an insider, has his ear and eye to the ground within the All Progressives Congress, a staunch supporter of President Bola Tinubu, and someone who is at the grassroots of the political development in this country and worked assiduously for, well, as the party members will call him, Jagaban, going into the 2023 general election. Chief Chibuna Ubawuike is here to help us speak to some of the developments within the party this morning and help us find sense in what the implications are. Chief, again, I will say a big thank you to you.
You're welcome.
For coming on the program this morning. You and I will agree, at least for once, that your party has recorded a lot of gains in recent times.
Yes.
Yes. The APC has evolved, it has metamorphosed, it has been strengthened. And people like you would say, well, the leadership of President Bola Tinubu cannot be taken away from all of this, because it will appear he is the pivot of the party as it stands right now. Talk to us about what those gains mean for your party going into this election.
The gains, brought about by the leadership of His Excellency President Bola Tinubu will strengthen our party to go into the election, and it's a plus, a big plus, a positive development for our party, and it will enable our party to campaign well and be able to garner more votes to win the 2027 general elections.
There are people who argue that the APC is living in some, I mean, they are living in the clouds, because they say the APC is not realistic enough to agree that these people who are defecting from these other parties, including the governors of states, I mean 7 governors, are doing so superficially. In other words, there's no substance to it. That most of these governors are only seeking self-preservation, especially for those who have a second-term ambition. If that is the case, I mean, with a big if, for example, what are the implications for your party?
The last time I was here, I told you that there are 2 forms of defection. One is a defection for self-political preservation, and the other is defection to assist the government in power to carry or execute its programs and policies.
Right.
Some of the governors that are defecting to our party, and more that will come, to me, it's not for self-political preservation, because if they still remain in their party, they will still get the ticket of their parties to run on the ticket of their, former parties. But there are some politicians that are defecting, for self-political preservation, to secure power, using the party as a vehicle to get the power. They work on their own. It did happen in 2023 election. Some of the people in my party, especially candidates that ran for elections, what they were saying was, vote for me and vote for any presidential candidate of your choice. Especially from my side, from my geopolitical zone. That was why my party performed abysmally in my zone, Southeast. Some are still coming. They are coming to contest for power. Some of them are not coming to my party because they have the interest of Mr. President at heart. No. So that's why I call on Mr. President to look inwards. There are, grassroots mobilizers who are closer to the grassroots. Empower them. These are people that will get you the votes, not some of these decampees, because they are coming to say, vote for me and vote for another presidential candidate of your choice. We have seen it happen in 2023. It is going to even happen more in 2027. So we need to work assiduously to empower those who are real grassroots mobilizers to be able to get us the vote, because the votes counts at the polling units.
It just gets interesting with your party, and 2027 doesn't even make it any less interesting. I'll give you an example. So look at Delta State, for instance. Well, there has been the issue of how that former Deputy President of the Senate, Ubawuike, was the leader of your party in Delta State up until when the governor, Sheriff Ubawuike, defected to the APC. And of course, we know how these things work. On account of his office as a governor, he becomes the de facto leader of your party in that state. There are people in your party who say this will create a lot of conflict, because look at Akwa Ibom, for example. Akwa Ibom governor has also defected to your party, and today governor is a member of the APC, and by virtue of that, the leader of your party in Akwa Ibom state. How much of infighting are we seeing already, or are we likely to see on account of these conflicts?
Let me take the issue of Delta State. Delta State had what we call a college of leaders. If I borrow the words of the aviation minister, Festus Keyamo, we have many leaders in the Delta State. He said, I quote him, that no particular person in Delta in APC will say he's the leader. They have what they call college of leaders within the APC. Within the APC. Why did they do that? To avoid rancor and bitterness, so that there will be harmony amongst the leaders in the Delta, so that they will work with one spirit, one mind, and be able to deliver the goods. Because if one person as Delta is a mini Nigeria, if one person will say he's the leader, there will be serious acrimony in the state. So before the governor defected to our party, they had what they called a college of leaders. And when the governor came in, they handed over the leadership to him. So the governor today is the leader of the party in Delta State, but he's working together with the college of leaders, so that all of them will work together harmoniously to assess the power and deliver on their mandate.
That's a bit interesting, because people who talk to you on the ground say,
going on the issue of Akwa Ibom,
right,
the governor, yes, has defected to our party. But Akwa Ibom produced the Senate president, the number 3 man in Nigeria. By political hierarchy, the Senate president number 3 man. But what is happening in Akwa Ibom now is that the governor and the Senate president and the other leaders of the party in the state are working harmoniously together. So there's not going to be any rancor, no bitterness in Akwa Ibom.
So can we categorically say that the president of the Senate, Chief Godswill Akpabio, is the leader of your party in Akwa Ibom State?
He is the leader of the party in South Zone.
The entire zone?
Yes. He's the Senate president. He's the leader of the party in South Zone.
Interesting. But let's talk about Delta again, because that's an interesting case in point. Ubawuike has obviously, this is not, it's the public governorship ambition. 2027 is around the corner, for example. Of course, Sheriff Ubawuike is going to stand for re-election in 2027. You think this college of leaders idea is going to help fix that?
But I believe that the governor, having defected to our party, will be given the right of first refusal. whosoever that has ambition to run for governorship in Delta State from my party for now, to me, the person should share it. The governor has the right of first refusal, and I believe my party will give the governor the ticket. And even before he defected, from the information we gathered and things we...
It was part of the agreement.
He was a performing governor. He was working. So, and then coming to my party with, that what he has done and what he has continued to do, we don't have any choice than to give him the ticket to run.
All right. But let's talk about issues that have nothing to do with ticketing, right? For example, we're seeing, if you like, almost like a barrage of resignations. Well, let's talk about some of these other persons now who say they left the APC and they left the government. Some of them did not say they left the APC, at least there's no formal resignation to that effect, but they left the government. And every time someone leaves the government, apart from maybe former Minister of Women Affairs, Barrister Kennedy Oneye, for example, every other person seems to be working against the APC. In our case, she has come out clearly to say, look, I'm working and mobilizing for the president going into the 2027 election. Let's talk about the factors that may be responsible for how that somebody leaves the government and then starts to work against that government. One of them just granted an interview recently, just 2 days ago, saying that he would work against this government.
And let me tell you something. Instead of you to be in a party and be sabotaging the party from within, the best is for you to go
and go work against it.
And go work against it, come up here. So some of those people you see are saboteurs within the party. And unfortunately, some of them had appointment with the government. There are some that are still in the government as well. The last time I came here, I said, I know one minister that is working against this government.
But you didn't mention them.
If you allow me, I'll mention his name.
By all means. By all means, go ahead and mention him. And that's what give us the reason you think he's working against the government.
The Minister of Environment, he's working against this government.
In what sense?
He's truncating government's economic policy. Things, businesses that has to do with his ministry. Let me take the flora and fauna business. That is live animal export, reptiles and wood exportation businesses. These businesses are regulated by international body called CITES, Convention on International Trade on Endangered Species of Flora and Fauna. Now, Nigeria is a signatory to CITES. And this international law, Nigeria domesticated, we have their own version, which aligns with the CITES Convention. And it empowers us to trade in animals that we both endangered and non-endangered. Endangered has regulation that you obtain what we call CITES permit to export.
I think it's becoming more interesting, Chief. We need to talk about this and take it home all the way. But let's take a quick break at this point, everyone. When we return, we're going to talk about all these issues as they affect this government. This is an allegation of sabotage, and just a while ago my guest was trying to establish the basis for this, if you like, weighty allegation. But let's talk about, because this is a bit more than politics now, this is even economic in nature.
Yes, economic sabotage by the Minister of Environment. When you apply, by the law, when you want to export wood, you make application to the Ministry of Environment through the Department of Forestry. Now, government has lifted the ban on wood exportation. So if you are a exporter of wood, you apply, because there are wood species that are endangered, that there is restriction on them. So when you apply, the Department of Forestry will vet your application. If you qualify, and the ones you want to export are not the ones that are are not really restriction, they approve the permit for you, the approval, and send to the minister for final approval. When you send, he will sit on it, he will not approve. And when you export, you earn foreign exchange for the country, you create job, you put food on the table. And we're talking about economic diversification. What of the reptiles?
Nigeria is a signatory to this CITES convention, and we have many of these reptiles endemic to Nigeria. Some of our neighboring countries come here, they poach them, export to their countries. Now, when you apply to export them through the Department of Forestry, when they vet it and say you meet with the requirements, because there are relevant requirements, when you meet with it and they know that this species you apply for is where they can easily give you the permit, they approve it and you pay. And then they send to the minister for final approval. The minister will sit on it. He will not approve it. This is an avenue to earn foreign exchange for the country. It's an avenue to create more jobs. It's an avenue to empower people. And then add to the GDP of Nigeria, he will sit on it. It is pure economic sabotage. And knowing from where he was coming from, he was one of his age when he was the BPEDG. He was a chief of staff as when he was a city minister. And he was the secretary to the government of Ghana State to verify throughout the 8 years from 2015 to 2020 as a governor. So you know where he's coming from. And he's in this government. And look at what his principal is doing to the government. So there are a lot of them. The president should look inwards. All his appointees that are in, serving and sabotaging the government from within, they should be shown the way out. Some of them will have the conscience to resign and go and begin to talk against the government. Meanwhile, they were in sabotaging the government. That is the thing we are facing. Has anyone made an attempt or put in the efforts to say, let's see what, based on your allegation, this minister is not approving all of these requisitions. There may be ethical concerns, there may be issues around the legality or otherwise, and things like that. Several elements that we will not be privy to. Has anyone gone ahead to want to find out about this? I will use myself as an example.
Right.
I am an exporter of reptiles, and I've been in the business for about 31 years, doing it from a neighboring country. And now I say, let me do from this particular species we have in Nigeria, let me do it from my country, create jobs here, put food on the table of people. I applied, they gave me the requirements, I made the requirements, and the first one was approved for me. I applied again, the Department of Forestry approved, sent to him to do final approval. He raised an issue that is outside the law, because this business is guided by the law, both international convention and our own local domesticated law.
Right.
And the application meets all requirements of the law, even ethical concerns or whatever. But there are species that you need to breed. The law says you must breed them, you must farm them before you export them. And there are ones they say you catch from the wild. The one that the CITES say you catch from the wild, you cannot say them when you breed it. Because CITES regulation is clear on this. And then the minister has said, why are you not breeding it? The law did not say it should be bred. He said it should be caught from the wild.
So in that case, he's stepping outside the
law. I do not traverse. I have had conversation with Michi one-on-one. Make presentations, explain the situation. He doesn't know about the industry. I explained to him how the industry works. He said, okay, I'm going to do approval. This happened since October last year. He sat on my business, killed my business. I suffered a lot of losses and things like that. To arrest him, my lawyers had to write him. He refused to respond. Even after the department has eliminated on the letters and said, this what you are doing is outside the law. So there are many of the appointees of the government that are sabotaging the economic policies and the new agenda of the government. Mr. President should look inwards and be able to lead them.
There are several concerns here, but let's start, one step at a time. There is Bala Usman, if you like, framework that has been set up by President Bola Tinubu with the sole aim of saying let's evaluate performance of ministers and other aides from time to time. This government, under the leadership of your party, has had 100 days in office, half-year appraisal, 1 year in office, in fact 2 years in office. We don't seem to see, to have seen much of this committee, if you like, coming up to say, look, we're seeing that this minister or that DG or that executive secretary has performed below bar, because the president made it clear that key performance indicators have been set already against which performances will be benchmarked and things like that. Can we also, there's a lot of blame, enough blame to go around. Can we also blame President Bola Tinubu in terms of his sense of judgment of picking these people to man these ministries?
We can't blame them. He's not a spirit to know them, discern their spirits. He's not a God that is all-knowing. He's a human. He's a fallible man. So, and most of these people were recommended to him. You understand? So it is like the performance indices and indicator that have been set up. If they don't meet it up and meet up with them, and then they should be shown the way out. Let's watch and see what will happen. I believe that there are going to be cabinet reshufflement. I don't know, but I believe it's going to do that because there are a lot of complaints about some of his appointees, and some are also using their hand to resign. So those positions will be filled. A lot of things that some members of my party are doing, sabotaging the government and my party, and it will be seen as is the policy of our party or government. Imagine I'm not a member of the party and have this experience with the minister. How will I see my party? How will I see the government? The same thing the new despots are experiencing in his hands. Why?
From your, this narrative you're pushing on the program this morning, one can easily say, well, it is suggestive that this Minister of Environment is probably working on some level for whatever reason with the former governor of Kaduna State, because from what he said, he has worked with him
absolutely
for quite a long time.
Absolutely.
So what are the implications? I mean, so if those were the possibilities,
like I said in my last appearance here, that some ministers are sabotaging the government. The implication is to sabotage the government for to paint the government black in the eyes of the public, give the government the name it does not deserve in the eyes of the public and the electorate, and we are approaching election year. So this kind of people should be shown the way out.
Well, we're having this kind of conversation like we're doing this morning. It just goes to, if you like, give feel to the possibility of a coalition against your government, for example, and that talk is getting thickened by the day. Let's talk about that.
The coalition will fail.
Why would it?
The clash of...
A coalition brought your party in 2014, 2015.
The scenario is not the same.
What has changed?
The what has changed, the person that is at the driving seat now is a different person. He masterminded that coalition.
That's the president.
Yes. So he's a master of coalitions. He's kind of to dethrone a champion is always difficult. To dethrone, you prepare very, very well. And the electoral dynamics now has changed and tilted towards Mr. President securing his second term. Let me tell you this: before my president emerged as the candidate of our party, a lot of artificial barriers were erected against him. First, the chairman of our party, the person that was supposed to be the chairman of my party, there was a conspiracy against him by these same people that went to form coalition, that he should not be allowed, because if he is allowed, I participated, I campaigned for that person. If he is allowed, that he will hand over the ticket to Mr. President as an aspirant then. And he had not declared his intention openly then. They conspired and took away the chairmanship from him and handed over to somebody that they said will give them the ticket. And the person got in now and also betrayed them. And declared another person, if not that the members of NWC wrote and said, we cannot support Mr. President, did not say he should be so and so person. That was an artificial barrier to push Mr. President out, who was then an aspirant. He dismantled that impediment. And finally, during the primaries itself, I was there at Ego Square. I participated. A lot of things happened, but he was able to weather the storm and defeated all the other aspirants. Now, in the election proper, there is no barrier that he is the president that experienced the highest number of conspiracy, both from within the government of our party and outside. But he dismantled all those barriers. And you're talking about the last straw that brought the camel's back was the Naira change. Because in Nigeria we play money politics. There is no way you will run an election in Nigeria without spending good money. There is no way. We have 176,846 polling units. If you have two polling unit agents in each of them, and you are paying them maybe 5,000, 10,000 per, by 176,846, that one alone, you are talking about campaign materials, logistics, and whatever. So they made sure they starved him of money. He dismantled that impediment. They used the courts, brought up all sorts of allegations and accusations. He went to court. He dismantled all of them. He wasn't in government. And our government today, APC, worked against him. Officials of the government worked against him. Still, he dismantled and defeated all of them. The scenario is not the same. Now, they brought the Muslim ticket of a team, they use it as propaganda, mobilized Christians against Mr. President. He dismantled them and won the election. Now, he as the elected president, and has been performing. Yes, he has taken tough decisions that is affecting us, we are feeling the pains, but it's in our own interest. The people that use a Muslim ticket to campaign against him have seen that Mr. President is not a religious bigot and is not here to promote one religion against the other. There is a harmonious relationship between the religions and things like that. So that, and those people that is spearheading that campaign, most of them have come back in our party working for him. So I mentioned the other time that most of the states up north, that had Christians that voted against Mr. President, all of them now will vote for Mr. President. Then you come about the generality of Nigerians have seen the good works he's doing. They are going to vote for Mr. President. So the coalition they are forming, like the works of Mr. President, like the lawyers will say, res ipsa loquitur, you're speaking for him, and he's going to win. So let them form their coalition, they will scatter. They have gone to SDP, they scatter, they link to ADC, they scatter, they have never forming a new political party. Because all of them are embittered politicians with vaunted ambitions. This one wants to be president, that one wants to be president, this one wants to be president. Nobody wants to come step down for each other. How will it work? Let us watch and see how far they will go. But we are waiting for them. We are mobilizing. Irrespective of the sabotage, in-house sabotage of some members of our party. We have identified some of them, and we are working to truncate whatever evil plan they are bringing up to stop Mr. President election. Mr. President is costing him to victory. It's not going to be easy, but we are going to win.
All right. I mean, you mentioned up north just a while ago. I sat with a guest here, a very senior member of your party from up north, in fact from the northeast, and I asked him pointedly, I said, is the generality of the north happy with the APC? And he gave me a capital no. So how do you respond to that, for example, if we were to do that assessment?
There is nowhere the generality will be happy with you. Generality, some will be happy, some will not be happy. But the thing is that we are going to win up north. Whether they are happy,
what gives you that confidence?
We have done a lot of work. Forget about what you see, some propaganda you see they are doing. Yes, they have tried as much as they can to instigate hatred in the house of Northerners against Mr. President. But I had a question here the other day. They should tell me one thing Mr. President has done against the North. One singular thing has done against the interest of the North that brought about this hatred. If appointments are in the interest of the
so it's a payback time.
No, I'm asking if that is the yardstick for they are using to measure. When President Buhari was there, his appointment was skewed in the interest of the not against the South.
But that is suggesting that you are not denying that the appointments are skewed in the interest of the South. You're only saying that he's not the first to do it.
He's not the first to do it, number one. Number two, he is a human.
At least you can agree that he has done it.
No, I'm not saying he has done it. But what I'm saying that if he has done it, assuming he has done it, he's not the first person to do it. Assuming he has done it, he's not the first person to do it. Are those people performing, are they delivering? You could recall from 2015 to 2023, there was no project that was commissioned in Lake City. No single project. 8 years. Is it the same today? Those people that are, they need that if you put this scenario to you. Mr. President is going to win the southern states. They say, unlike what happened in the last election, the 17 southern states, Mr. President is going to win them. We will win FCT. We will win most of the, if not all the north central states, we are going to win. They will not going to do battle in the northwest and northeast.
Sounds like the APC has a lot of war chests, whatever that means, that is banking on. But let's begin to tie it up, Chief. There was a bit of drama. Some people say it's melodrama. Someone described it as some sort of opera in Gombe State this week. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Talk to us about what that incident was about.
It is normal in partisan political gatherings. It is normal. Everybody will want to fight for his interest, right? It's not something that should be taken, out of context. It is normal. When humans gather, there are bound to be clash of interest. So I'm not seeing it as something serious or whatever. It's normal in political gatherings like this.
Even when we now realize that there are clear indications that the possibility of Vice President Kashif Shettima running with the president in 2027 is becoming slimmer by the day.
I'm not seeing that.
Because that was what the story was essentially about. How that is done alongside his principal.
It is insinuations and the propaganda of some people. The Vice President has not come out to say, I am being marginalized in this presidency. I have seen, if they have not seen, I have seen Mr. President delegate duties to the Vice President time and time again. And remember, the constitutional duty of the Vice President, one, is to be the chairman of the National Economic Council. Right. That is clearly spelled out. Other duties is as assigned to him by Mr. President.
So he serves at the pleasure of Mr. President.
That is it. And Mr. President has been delegating responsibilities and duties to the Vice President. Mr. Vice President have never come out to say, Mr. President is marginalizing me.
Do we expect him to come out to say that?
Let me explain to you. When former Vice President Atiku Abubakar was the Vice President to President Obasanjo, and he saw that he was being marginalized, he came out open. He began to fight the government from openly. He was the first Vice President in Nigeria's history that became from the ruling party to another party. Why is that?
Because he had a presidential ambition.
Wait, because he said he was marginalized. He said he was marginalized. And no duties were delegated to him, no responsibility was assigned to him. He decamped. I don't even at the Federal Executive Council, I could remember when they moved the motion, former Honorable Minister Femi Fani-Kayode, they moved the motion for him not to appear at the Federal Executive Council meeting any longer. He went to court, challenged all those things, and he won. So if a Vice President, His Excellency Kashim Shettima, is being marginalized, he's very red, exposed, he's a very good politician, a politician of note. He knows what to do, and he has not come out to say, Mr. President is treating me badly. What we see people are doing is, people are instigating crisis where there is none. They're instigating crisis where there is none.
Chief, I'm not sure there's so much for you and I to talk about, but again, time will fail us, as is always the case, to go into all of those this morning. But we'd like to say we're grateful for your time with us on Good Morning today. We're taking a quick break, everyone. But again, after this short break, we're taking you back to Benue State, where we need to talk about some of the key elements and highlights of driving this crisis, and what's more, the governor, his government, the people, and all other critical stakeholders can do to stem this ugly tide.